Imagine an aircraft that should have long ago been retired into history. Slow, loud, unspectacular for modern warfare. That's exactly how experts described it, until something very strange happened. Instead of retirement, it received a billion-dollar modernization. Instead of a museum, a new role on the battlefield. And in 2026, this Cold War veteran once again became the thing armored vehicles fear most on the battlefield. This is the Fairchild Republic A-10 Thunderbolt II. To pilots, simply the Warthog, an aircraft that doesn't try to be beautiful. It was built for only one purpose: to survive where others cannot, find the target and erase it under the legendary brrrrt. Today you will see the story of a machine that survived dozens of conflicts, refused to go into retirement, and in 2026 returned once again as a weapon that must be reckoned with. An old symbol of the Cold War that suddenly became dangerously relevant again. Let's go back to the 1970s. The war in Vietnam showed one simple truth. High-speed jet fighters look impressive in the sky, but are nearly helpless when it comes to saving soldiers on the ground. American units needed a completely different aircraft, a flying tank. A machine so survivable that it could return to base even with half-destroyed wings, a damaged tail, and a crippled engine. Engineers at Fairchild Republic answered this challenge in the most straightforward way possible. They took a single idea, a giant 1.18-inch GAU-8A Avenger cannon, and built the entire aircraft around it. Literally, not a cannon for the aircraft, but an aircraft for the cannon. The A-10 made its first flight on May 10, 1972, and by 1977 it had officially entered service. Since then, the Warthog has passed through dozens of wars alongside American forces: Desert Storm, the Balkans, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria. And in each of these conflicts, it proved the same point again and again. This is not just an attack aircraft, but one of the most effective close air support platforms ever created. Why they wanted to retire it. The paradox is that the very success of the A-10 almost became the reason for its disappearance. Over time, the U.S. Air Force began looking in another direction, toward faster, more technological, and more versatile aircraft. It seemed that the F-35 would replace everyone at once: fighters, attack aircraft, and, of course, the A-10 itself. The arguments looked logical. The A-10 is too slow. Its maximum speed is only 439 miles per hour. It has no stealth technology. And in the condition of modern air defense, such a machine appeared to be an easy target. In a world of supersonic fighters and precision-guided missiles, the Warthog looked like a relic of an old era, almost a dinosaur that had accidentally remained in the sky of the 21st century. But the reality of war made its own adjustments. New conflicts from Eastern Europe to the Middle East reminded everyone of the obvious. Tanks, armored vehicles, and artillery have not disappeared from the battlefield. And that means the need also remains for an aircraft capable of staying over the front line for a long time, operating at low altitude and methodically destroying ground targets. And here, the old A-10 once again found itself in its element, especially when you remember the numbers. About $80 million for a single F-35 versus $18 million for an A-10. The difference is not only in price, but also in role. The F-35 was created as a high-tech hunter of the future. The A-10 as a ruthless guardian of the soldier on the ground. And it turned out that modern war needs both. But there are missions that, even today, only it performs best. Modernization. What has changed? And now the most interesting part. Because the modernization of the A-10 is no longer just an update. The A-10C Thunderbolt 2 Suite 8 Plus program has effectively transformed the old attack aircraft into a new combat aircraft in a familiar airframe. Let's start with the cockpit. Where analog instruments of the last century once dominated, there are now modern multifunction displays. The pilot received two 6 by 8-inch color screens that simultaneously show a digital terrain map, threats, flight parameters, and weapons data. Along with this came a new weapons control system that opened access to the full range of modern precision-guided munitions. Now the A-10 can employ the GBU-39 small-diameter bomb, the latest modifications of the AGM-65 Maverick, and laser-guided APKWS rockets. That means the legendary BRRT is no longer its only language. Now it also speaks the language of 21st century precision warfare. The next level is connectivity. The integration of the Link 16 system has turned the A-10 from a lone hunter into a full-fledged element of the digital battlefield. Imagine a scenario. A drone finds a target, instantly transmits the coordinates, and within seconds the A-10 opens fire or launches a precision munition. The time between detection and destruction has been reduced to mere seconds. But modern war is not only about striking, it is also about survival. That is why the A-10 received an updated electronic warfare suite capable of detecting missile and radar threats at distances of up to about 124 miles. A new countermeasure dispensing system for flares and chaff significantly increases the chances of surviving an encounter with surface-to-air missiles. In other words, an aircraft built for survival has become an even more difficult target. The TF-34 GE-100A engines remain the same, proven over decades, with thrust of about 9,000 pounds each. But their electronics were modernized, improving reliability and control. Their distinctive high placement above the fuselage is not accidental, but deliberate protection. A smaller heat signature, and more difficult acquisition by infrared missiles. Even in small details, the A-10 remains a survival machine. And finally, the foundation. The re-winging program replaces the old wings with new ones, adding another 10,000 flight hours of service life to the airframe. A simple but powerful thought. These aircraft will be able to remain in the sky into the 2040s. That means the story of the A-10 is not ending. It is only moving into the next chapter. And now, the hard numbers. But they are exactly the numbers behind which the true essence of this machine is hidden. The A-10 does not try to impress with speed or elegance. It was created for something else: endurance, stability, and prolonged operation where the fate of the battle is decided. Its length is just over 52 feet, the wingspan is nearly 57 feet, and the height is about 15 feet. A massive squat design in which everything is subordinated to survivability. The empty aircraft weighs more than 24,000 pounds, and the maximum takeoff weight reaches approximately 51,000 pounds. And a significant part of that weight is armor, fuel, and weapons, meaning what allows it to remain in the sky when others are already forced to retreat. Speed? A maximum of about 439 miles per hour and near the ground, roughly 348 miles per hour. For a modern jet, that is not much. But the A-10 was never built for racing. Its strength lies in the ability to fly slowly, see the battlefield, and act precisely. Without refueling, it can cover more than 2,500 miles, and its combat radius is about 285 miles, enough to operate for a long time near the front line. Formally, its service ceiling reaches nearly 46,000 feet, but the true domain of the A-10 is much lower, roughly 5,000 to 10,000 feet above the ground, where it can directly influence the course of battle. And most importantly, time. The A-10 can patrol over the battlefield for up to 3 consecutive hours, remaining beside soldiers when support is needed most. That is why its value is measured not by speed and not even by range. Its real strength is the ability to be where everything is decided and to stay there longer than anyone else. At the center of the entire A-10 story is one thing. Not the engines, not the armor, not even the wings. The GAU-8/A Avenger cannon. This is not just a weapon. It is the true metal spine of the aircraft. A 7-barrel, 1.18-inch giant more than 20 feet long and weighing nearly 2 tons together with the ammunition drum. When it comes alive, the sound is unlike ordinary gunfire. It is a short, low, almost mechanical growl that soldiers recognize instantly. The rate of fire reaches about 3,900 rounds per minute, but in real combat, pilots use short, controlled 2-second bursts, about 65 rounds at a time. That is enough to change the situation on the ground in a literal moment. The ammunition load is enormous, more than 1,000 rounds, and after upgrades, up to 1,350. Each of them weighs about 1.5 pounds and leaves the barrel at a speed of over 3,300 feet per second. Armor-piercing variants with heavy cores are capable of penetrating dozens of millimeters of armor, even at a distance of half a mile. That is why for armored vehicles, this sound means only one thing: time has run out. But the A-10 never relied only on the cannon. Its wings are also an entire arsenal of modern war. On 11 hardpoints, it can carry more than 7 tons of weapons. AGM-65, Maverick guided missiles, precision bombs of the GBU-12, GBU-38, and GBU-54 families, small diameter GBU-39s that allow multiple targets to be struck in a single sortie, Hydra 70 unguided rocket pods, classic Mark 82 and Mark 84 bombs, as well as gun pods for even greater fire density. All of this together creates a strange combination. An aircraft that looks rough and simple is, in reality, one of the most powerful close air support platforms on the battlefield. The A-10 Warthog proves a simple truth. In military aviation, faster does not always mean better. This is an aircraft created for one purpose: to protect soldiers on the ground. And for more than 40 years, it has done this better than anyone. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and write in the comments which aircraft the next video should be about.